From front row starts to struggling karts, pole positions, and aggressive driving, these last few races at K1 Circuit have had it all. The 2026 season at K1 Circuit has finally begun, and it has been a crazy start to the year. So come with me as I recap the drama from rounds 1 and 2. Last season started off rough. With the DNF and B group, I started off with a 29-point deficit to the championship leader. But with a lot of hard work and consistent races, it was looking like I could bring home a top 3 finish. The devastating start was looking like it could have a happy ending with 3 pole positions, 3 wins, and 4 podiums, but it was just barely not enough, resulting in a 4th place finish in the standings by 1 point. I felt like I did everything I could do, but it just wasn't my season. But this one was going to be different. I was more prepared than ever to mount a run to the title and try and finally take that top step on the podium. For round 1, K1 Circuit would have us racing on the standard Pro Track configuration. I love this layout. It's got a little bit of everything, and the middle sector is very tricky to get right. And it started off with a bit of practice just to get the rust off from the winter break and reacclimate to these karts. Then it was time to get ready for qualifying. The first quali started off pretty well, and it felt like the kart was working with me, but it was just lacking a bit of that overall power that could really push for a super fast time. Coming into second qualifying, my kart felt hooked up. I was able to send it hard, push the limits, and bring it home with a 75.929, netting me a front row starting spot for the race. And now it was time to head out on track for the race. Before we jump into that though, I should inform you all about the new championship format that K1 Circuit has done for this season. First, I'd just like to give a big shout out to the workers who have been there and listening to the drivers' feedback and always trying to make improvements to produce the best racing product they can. But for this season, it comes with massive changes. This time, it's an 11 race championship lasting from January through November, as opposed to the 2 6-race seasons that they ran last year. In addition to this, there's also a 1-round drop, allowing for some leeway with unpredictable karts. But the biggest change comes with the points distribution. As many of you may already know from experience, K1 has been using the same points model for years. Each driver you beat will award you 1 extra point starting from 1. So if there's 12 drivers in the field, then the winner will receive 13 points. This year, we see that there is a standardized point system with the winner always receiving 150 points, second place receiving 147, and then each consecutive place receiving 2 less points. And then there is still a points bonus for pole position. This new point and calendar format is definitely needed, and I'm so happy they made this change. And it's really just going to make sure that everyone has a good chance at, getting a good championship result, and puts a bigger emphasis on that consistency and allowing people to have some bad luck that's going to get filtered out at the end of the season. Now, with all that out of the way, it's finally time to see what happened during this race in round 1. Coming out onto the track, the kart felt pretty uncomfortable. In terms of speed, it felt pretty nice and grippy, but the seat felt like it was bent in and it was almost like it was crushing my ribs. So by the time we started gridding up on the back straight, I requested a swap kart so I could get something that was a little more comfortable. This was a horrible mistake. When I brought the kart in, I was given kart number 32. Now, for those that are new and don't know, I have a whole video or a podcast about the pain this kart has caused me and my friends. And it's almost been a year and it is still that bad. But I guess it was finally just my time to suffer with this kart's performance. Off the line, it was abundantly clear how much power that this kart was lacking. And in the next few corners, it just got worse. There was no front grip and it wanted to understeer to oblivion. It was almost dangerous with how slow this kart was. People kept bumping into me at the speed I was going because they had no reason to think that I was going half the speed as I usually do, because why would they? And the race quickly became one that was just focusing on damage limitation. I just had to try and hold position as best as I could and scrap up as many points as I could by the end of the race. On the back straight, it really just showed how much speed that this kart was lacking. There was really nothing I could do, and I just had to watch as drivers were able to just breeze past me with no concern. Eventually, this nightmare would end, and I'd come across the finish line in P16 after starting from second. It was far from the result that I was hoping for, but the season goes on and there's plenty of racing left, so now it's on to round 2. Come round 2, we're racing on Pro Track with chicanes, a very technical and quick track with lap times almost 15 seconds faster than the standard layout. Jumping into Quali 1, I had a fast car underneath me, and it was a bit too much to handle at first with some pretty aggressive oversteer. but after a lap to get used to it, I was setting heaters. At the end of the session, I was over 1 full second ahead of the next fastest driver, setting a 61.639. Alright, so first qualifying just finished up. It went pretty well. The kart really had kind of no front grip, which was kind of weird. Well, it had too much front grip, I mean to say. Coming out of the pits, I would turn into turn 1, and it just freaking ripped it out of my hands. So that took some adjusting to do, especially in the first lap. It took a while to kind of put some heat into the rears to really get it to snag around the corners. But it was pretty good. So far, we are about a second up on the rest of the field. So we're currently sitting P1, which is great. We're in Group C right now. So there are 4 groups total. So there's one more group after this, and then we'll go into second qualifying. So hopefully we're able to keep our position pretty well, and then maybe even improve on the second qualifying, but I'll keep you guys updated. Quali 2 felt good as well. The kart settled in the corners, but it was lacking that extreme speed to set an even faster time. But even without that, I was still the only driver setting times in the 61 seconds. Alright, second qualifier just finished up. Not as good as last time. I was 3 tenths of a second slower. But still good. Nobody's been able to set into the 61s yet. So I think we're looking good for pole. It's just all about managing the race and everything. At the very least, we'll have a very good starting position. So we'll just have to capitalize from there, get good starts, and just manage the race well and everything. So we'll kind of see. Again, 3 more qualifiers to run, so we'll kind of see how things go and shake up. I think Group 2 is out on track right now, but we'll see where that puts us. Heading out for the race, I had the pleasure of starting from pole position, and all I needed was to get an idea of what the kart beneath me felt like. The kart was okay, nothing to write home about, but after last month, there was no way I would risk making a change. Coming to green flag, there was a little bit of controversy as the drivers starting on my outside kept creeping ahead and jumped the start. But even with that, my friend Sham, who started in P3 behind me, made sure they couldn't get away with a nice bump. The next couple laps were ruthless, as I lost the lead to the drivers who started P2 and 4, and I had to try and fight back for my position. After a bit of hard work trying to get around them and their really aggressive driving, I was back in the lead with a decent margin to Sham. But it was about now that my kart started to really show its flaws. Through the S's, my kart was struggling to keep the speed up on the exit. I tried to narrow it out, but it just was scrubbing off speed, and I tried to widen out the exit, and prioritize that exit speed, but it was just too much and it kept sliding. So all I was left with was to try and hold out and keep off a charging Sham from behind. Eventually, he was right on my bumper, and it was time to get our elbows out to fight for this win. And it was such a fun battle, trying to get the one up on each other and force each other into a compromising position lap after lap. And eventually, I would make a mistake and fall behind Sham. Now that I was behind, the difference in pace through the S's was very, very clear, but I was able to make up the time everywhere else. Coming to the last lap, I had the chance to make the move, but opted to try and stay behind and make the final pass on the back straight. This would end up being a big mistake, as the time I lost through the middle would prove to be just too much, and I'd bring it home across the line in P2. All in all, it was a good day. Pole position, podium finish, and a great race that I learned a lot from. It definitely helped with the point situation, boosting me up from P16 to P5. Although the season has had a bit of a rough start, the good news is I've been able to come back from a deficit like this before. In Season 1, I got spun out in the first 2 races and came back to finish second, and in Season 2, with the dead kart, I was able to come back to 4th. But now we have an 11-race season with 1 drop, so my first round has a chance of being wiped off the record. This season is far from over, and I'm not just one to give up. I know I'm capable of getting results, and now it's just about executing it. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't already to see how this season unfolds and be the first to know when new videos come out. So until next time, stay fast, and I'll see you guys later.